everybody, welcome back to another week in motivation. Today we are going to be talking about mindsets. So mindsets are a cognitive framework to help guide a person's attention, information processing, decision making, and thinking about the meaning of effort, the meaning of success and failure, and the meaning of our own personal qualities. One of the things that is so interesting about mindsets is mindsets can help us describe how two different people can look at the exact same motivational episode in two very different ways. How two people can look at the exact same thing and come away with two very different interpretations of that episode or of that event. There are three mindsets we're going to be covering in this series. The first mindset we're going to start with is deliberative versus implementable mindsets. So in the previous chapter, we distinguished between goal setting, so having a specific, difficult, concordant goal with feedback, and goal striving, setting good implementation intentions to actually engage in the behavior we need to do to reach our goals. This deliberative versus implementable mindset pretty nicely mirrors that logic. So a deliberative mindset helps us when we're trying to pick out our goal. So what do I want to eat for dinner? Or do I want to go to the gym? Should I cook or should I order takeout? This goal deliberation and formulation of what we want to do is the deliberative mindset. An implementable mindset, on the other hand, is when we've made a decision and we are getting into sustained activity to make that decision happen. So I decided I'm going to cook dinner tonight. I'm getting out my cookbook, I'm rifling through my fridge, and I am getting ready to turn on the oven. I am in an implementable mindset. I am making this happen. We can also see this logic very nicely with New Year's resolution. So a lot of people may spend a lot of time deliberating and kind of weighing the pros and cons of a New Year's resolution, which is the deliberative mindset. But they may not ever fully switch to an implementable mindset where they decide to start pursuing the goal. So again, same thing with the goal setting section. We see that selecting our goals and then actually pursuing or striving after our goals are very different processes and can require very different mindsets. A deliberative mindset is typically characterized by an open-minded, deliberative process through which many different options are considered, and we're working through a cost-benefit analysis to try and decide what we want to do. Our attention is cast very widely. We may talk to friends, talk to colleagues, talk to mentors. We may surf the web and look for advice online. We may check reviews of various products. And we tend to think thoroughly through the pros and cons of various alternatives. We see this deliberative mindset in college students when they are trying to decide what major they want to pursue. They likely talk to their friends, they talk to their family, they talk to a career advisor, they try and figure out what the pros and cons of psychology versus ecology versus economics may be. And they're really casting their net very widely and trying to think through all of the pros and cons. You can also see this with who do I want to marry, right? Who am I going to pick out of all the people in the dating pool? Where should I take my next vacation? Should I go to Death Valley National Park or should I go to Glacier National Park? Or maybe I'm feeling like going up to Maine and seeing Acadia National Park. What are the pros and cons of all of these different trips? Implementable mindset, on the other hand, is when we transition from open-minded to very closed-minded and narrowly focused attention to concentrate only on information relevant to goal attainment. And when we switch to this implementable mindset, alternative goals are now seen as unwanted distractions, right? We've already made our decision. We're implementing our decision now. I don't want to hear about all these alternatives. Deliberative thinking at this point will postpone our goal attainment instead of facilitating our goal attainment. we've made a decision, we're trying to chase it down. Thinking of other options is just going to slow us down at this point. What we also see is that we tend to, when we switch to this implementable mindset, we tend to be very optimistic about the desirability and the feasibility of our chosen goal, right? So if we're deliberating on who we want to marry, and then we decide we're going to marry this person, we don't want to hear about who else is single, right? We've made our decision. We are all in on implementation. We don't want to hear about alternative explanations or alternative goals. And we're super optimistic about how well this is going to work out. We've already decided. We can also see this with like vacation. So if I decided that I was going to Death Valley this winter, I need to plan this trip. My wonderful boyfriend saying, "Oh, we should, think about going to Charleston instead." We've already decided we're going to Death Valley. You're just being distracting now. I'm trying to book hotels and flights, right? Going back to a deliberative mindset at the implementation stage can be very distracting. What we see is that the distinction between deliberative and implementable mindsets can actually change our thoughts. So in a deliberative mindset, they had a sample of participants, Gallwitzer and Kenny in 1989, and they randomly assigned them into a deliberative mindset or a implementable mindset. So in a deliberative mindset, to try and experimentally invoke a deliberative mindset, they asked participants to make a pros and cons list, right? Think through all these different alternatives, make a pros and cons list for switching majors. And let's think about what the cost-benefit ratio might be for each potential goal we might think about. In the implementable mindset, on the other hand, they asked participants to identify a goal that they plan to accomplish in a specific amount of time, and then make a list of the 5 steps that they need to take to actually complete that goal. So for the implementable mindset, they were asking participants to write down a specific time and place to help with goal attainment, with actually implementing the steps they need to do to reach their goal. These different manipulations are meant to induce a deliberative versus an implementable mindset. And what we see is that they led to different kinds of cognitions. Excuse me, quick sneeze. So the deliberative mindset led to a cognitive tuning towards information related to pros and cons. They really picked up on information in the environment that could be related to pros and cons, versus implementable mindset led to a cognitive tuning to information related to goal attainment. They were no longer looking at pro and con information, they were looking at information that was related to goal attainment. So the big takeaway from this study is that a deliberative mindset is really valuable for productive goal setting, while the implementable mindset is really productive for goal striving.